Okay, so it is 4:04. I think we can go ahead and get started. And I have some awesome co-hosts who are going to let people in continually as the session goes on. So my name is Erica Johnston, and I'm going to be co-leading the session tonight. So welcome everyone who's taken the time to join us for the next 2 hours. And some people did let us know that they may have a night class or another obligation, so the session will be recorded and available courtesy of Courtney Douglas and the marketing team within the next day or two if you'd like to watch the whole thing after the fact. So I'm just going to go through our agenda for today, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Tamara Snead to do our warm welcome. But we're going to get started by meeting the College of Education and Human Development's Office of Field Placement and Professional Experiences team. And then we're going to learn about our college career services as well as the Career Center services and some upcoming and relevant events. I see that we have a very mixed group of students between undergraduate and very diverse graduate programs. So we have something for everyone on the line here today. So definitely looking forward to sharing that information with you. We also have Mark Coloco, who is both a CEHD alumnus and a senior career coach in the Career Center, who's going to lead a very short session and a breakout activity for us as well. And then we're going to hear from student organizations as well as learn more about College of Education Human Development affiliated organizations later in the call. And we're going to hear from our alumni relations team as well as a alumni panel. And then we'll finish off with a Q&A. We do encourage you, if you have questions throughout the session, to go ahead and type them in the chat. You're also welcome to unmute yourselves if it's on topic with what we're discussing. And my colleague Emily Garcia is going to go ahead and sort of read those questions out. If it's anything that might be covered later in the session or might be something that's a little bit personal, we might ask you to hold it for the end, or we can always follow up with you directly at that time. So I'm going to turn it over now to Dr. Tamara Snead.
Well, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. A very warm welcome. My name is Tamara Snead. I'm the Associate Dean of Teacher Education and Professional Experiences, and I just recently had my 9-year anniversary at Temple. Yay. So I started at Temple as an assistant professor of TESOL, which is the Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. And I was brought on the faculty because Pennsylvania changed its requirements and said that all teacher education programs must have a 3-credit course on working with English language learners. So I was brought in for that. And part of that was I was responsible for placing students in classrooms around Philadelphia so that they could get field experience for working with English language learners. So I ended up placing students for about 125 students every semester into schools around Philadelphia. And I did that for about 7 years. So part of that work, I believe so strongly how important it is to build really strong relationships with schools and to make sure that we really understand what schools need and what their interests are and what their goals are, and really help them to understand what it is that we're looking for students to get out of our experiences. And I feel incredibly, incredibly fortunate that I now work with a whole team of people who have the same philosophy. So Erica, can we just show the next slide oh, it's already there, sorry. So here's the team. I just wanted to briefly, was it better to have everyone introduce themselves, or do you want me to go through the list? Is there a preference, Erica?
We were going to introduce ourselves.
You were going to introduce yourselves. Okay.
But if you want to say even, additional warm welcomes, that's also more than permitted.
Okay. So I'll do some additional warm welcome, and then I will turn it over for people to introduce themselves. But I just want to say that that you'll hear from the staff, and I really, if you don't already know them, I really look forward to you having the opportunity to get to know them, because we really have just the most incredible people working in this area. So, so what I wanted to share with you was just a little personal experience that I had after I received my degree from the University of Pennsylvania, my doctorate degree. I took a job working in Camden, and I had a really interesting role where I was kind of this liaison between Rutgers University and charter schools in Camden. And it's not so important what exactly I was doing. What was really important for you to know is how I felt about it, which was incredibly excited. I was excited, I was energized, I was determined, I had social justice running through my veins. I was also incredibly nervous. So I went into that position and I got to work. And I went around and I was trying to create programs and get people to do things. And I worked incredibly hard. And I found that I wasn't getting a whole lot done. And so I worked harder. I tried to create more programs, and I tried to do more. I would go in early, I'd work my lunch, I would stay late, and still, I really just wasn't really getting anywhere. And so after a couple months, very frustrating couple months, I went and I was working with a graphic artist around some kind of flyer or something I was supposed to be working on. And she was sitting down and I was standing next to her and I'm talking to her, and she spun around and she looked at me and she said, you know, Dr. Snead, you never say good morning. And I said, well, okay, good morning. And, you know, and we went about our, you know, what we were doing. And I went home, and thankfully it was a Friday, and I kept thinking about that. I was like, I never say good morning. What does she mean? And then it suddenly hit me that I was so excited and so focused on the job that I really wasn't paying attention to the people. And all my training, I had all the theoretical orientation. I did a 5-year ethnography on classroom development and culture. And yet when I was in the position, I ended up kind of forgetting about all of that and just focusing on the work. And so I realized my misstep. It was hard. It was a very jagged hill. I am thankful to Sonia Gonzalez. Thank you, Sonia Gonzalez, for bringing it to my attention. It was really hard to get that feedback, but it changed. It made a drastic change in what I did and how I approached it. And so I went in on Monday and I started, hello, nice to see you. How are the kids? Love what you're doing with your hair. I mean, really trying to do as much repair work as I could to cultivate those relationships. And finally, you know, eventually, you know, I made some progress. But, you know, it's interesting because once I developed the relationship, I also got to hear what people were saying about me before we had those relationships. And they thought I was arrogant. They thought that I was bossy. And none of those were the ways that I saw myself, but it's the way that behaviors that I was engaging in was sending that message to the people I was working with. And so what I wanted to just remind you is that we are here because we care deeply. We really want to do a great job. And so I just want to remind you that when you go into these field experiences, you are being placed in places that will want you, that are looking forward to having you, and to please take advantage of those. Get to know the people, get to know the environment, get to make connections, and really think of yourself as a contributing member of that organization or the school or the classroom, because you will present yourself that way. And I think that it's just important for you to keep in mind that people are coming with different perspectives. A lot of times when our students go out in the classrooms, they are worried about stepping on the toes of the teacher, or they don't want to, be out of place. And so they wait for instruction. And the teachers give us feedback and say, why are these students coming in and not doing anything? I want them to do something. And they're expecting students to go in and do something. And so there's like that misconnection of perceptions. And I think it's just important for you to keep that in mind. And the last thing I want to say is just to be kind to everybody. You don't know who knows who. Be kind to everyone. And in many of the communities in which you will be working, everybody knows everyone. So just keep those things in mind. Again, take full advantage of the opportunities that are created for you. Please take opportunities of this amazing staff that we have, and have a great school year. Back to you, Erica.
Krista?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Snead. So I'm Kristen Hunter. I'm the director of the Office of Field Placement and Professional Experiences. So I get to work with all of these lovely individuals that you are about to meet as well. So I'm going on my 8th year here at Temple. I've been in several different roles in the College of Education and Human Development. I actually started out working for a nonprofit called Jumpstart. I was the manager for that program before I transitioned into the career development role within the college, and then I transitioned into managing our internships, and now I am here. So I've kind of been a little bit of everywhere. which is great because I've been able to see the college in a lot of different views and perspectives, which I think is really beneficial when I'm working one-on-one with students, and also when I'm making connections with our community and our partners. So you'll most likely see or hear from me throughout your time in the college, especially when it comes to field placements. Please feel free to always reach out if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to help, and I'm really excited that you all are here with us today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Tanya Thomas.
Tanya, sorry, you're muted.
Okay, I'm Tanya Thomas. I am the Assistant Director of Professional Experiences in the College of Education. I've been in that role for, well, not Assistant Director, but I've always been in the role of in the field placement office and placing students into schools for their field experience. And for the most part, I'll continue in that role. For the most part, I place students in any type of field work other than student teaching that is in the students that are in the teacher ed program. So for the most part, you'll be hearing a lot from me. I also help to manage the clearances. So you'll be hearing from me in terms of for the clearances as well as field placements. And that's basically it. I'm excited that you all are here. I want you to have a great semester. And I'm going to turn it over to Mary.
Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Mary Jenkins. I'm a part of the team, and I'm the person who does clearances. If you run across any problems, feel free to contact me, and I'll try to help you as much as possible. I've been a part of the College of Ed for over 25 years, and I've been working with Ms. Tanya Thomas for the past I believe 5-6 years. Feel free to contact me in the Office of Field Placement if you need me. Welcome again. And I'll hand it over to Emily.
Thanks, Mary. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Garcia. I'm the Assistant Director of Early Childhood Initiatives and Field Placement in the College of Education and Human Development. I should pretty much just echo Krista's career path because that's what my career path has looked like. In my role, I oversee various early childhood initiatives in the college, various grant-funded programs, and I also do field placement for our non-teacher education students. So programs like human development and community engagement, counseling psychology, school psychology, and then applied behavior analysis. I coordinate field placement for, and Tanya does the teacher education field placement programs. I've been at Temple since 2011. I actually started as a student. I got my bachelor's in early childhood education and my master's is in special education. And then, like I said, my career path is pretty similar to Krista's. I worked with Krista very closely through a program called Jumpstart for about 4.5 years. And I just transitioned into my assistant director role in February. So I've been with Temple for what feels like a very long time between being a student and being a professional. And I love this work so much, and this team is just incredible. And you know, in terms of providing various opportunities to students across the board, you know, I think we just have a really great space to support you in a lot of different capacities. So I'm excited to meet you in your time at Temple and get to work with so many of you. I'm going to hand it back over to Erica, who's going to take the rest of our presentation away.
Thanks, everyone. So one of the reasons why we're all sort of sharing our career trajectories is because tonight's all about career development, and it's not always a linear path. For me, I was a Temple undergraduate student studying history and Spanish and decided to go back for education to be a Spanish teacher. and then ended up realizing that non-native speakers of other languages needed help and support, and I just fell in love with that career pathway. And I did that for some years in teaching adults. I had one brief year in teaching kinder, first and second grade, and it was not for me. And then I returned promptly after to higher ed. So I've been working with Dr. Snead and with many others on this team for the last few years, and a grant that supports English learners across multiple district schools. And then I was sort of brought in for the career support role, which I'm here to talk with you tonight about in more detail in the next few minutes. But all this to say that many of you are either in your undergraduate program or your master's program or EDD or PhD programs, and maybe it was or was not a linear path for you. Maybe you've always known you wanted to be a teacher, or always known you wanted to be a school psychologist, or maybe not. Right? Maybe this is, part experience and part experiment, and that's what our team is here to help you with, to give you the experiences and support so that you're successful wherever your career takes you. So, sorry, my slides are a little frozen. Chris, I'm actually going to push it back to you just for a second so we can talk about some of our breadth and depth of our role of the college in the city of Philadelphia.
Ooh, absolutely. Thanks, Erica. So what you all are seeing on the page right now is actually the cover of our Educator magazine, which just went out this spring. So here we have just a very, very tiny snapshot of all the places where we serve and have our students completing some kind of field experience in organizations in our neighborhood in North Philadelphia. I need to absolutely stress that this is a very small snapshot, because we have so many students all across the city making an impact in our neighborhood. We truly have a passion and are dedicated to making a difference right here in North Philadelphia with our neighbors who are welcoming us in every single day. So as you can see, we are everywhere in the immediate vicinity of Temple's campus, but we have students placed all across the city. We also have students right in the suburbs. Wherever you go, you can find somebody that's probably connected to the College of Education and Human Development. I think that's one of the things that I love so much about being at Temple and being in our college is that everywhere I go, I meet somebody that has had a connection with our university. So it's really wonderful to see our growth and our impact and what we can do in just our small zip code. So again, this is just a brief overview of where we are, our programs we're in, and how we are giving back to our neighbors.
Thanks, Krista.
Yeah.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay. All right, so I'm going to get started now on talking about the College of Education and Human Development specific resources. So as I mentioned before, I am the AD of Career Development. So for any experiential or paid opportunities that you're interested in, I would be the person that you would reach out to for that. I've also worked very closely with our colleagues in the Career Center, who are also just a fantastic resource, and we'll be hearing it in just a few minutes from one of our counterparts and very close colleagues, Mark Coloco, who will be coming to speak tonight. So some of the types of things that I can help you with and the Career Center can help you with is around career exploration, right? So maybe you've decided upon a major and you're thinking about what you might be able to do with that. I'm not an advisor. I'm not here to give you insight on courses or to kind of go through that list with you, but I am here once you've decided on a program, or you're thinking about a potential certificate to add on, or you're thinking about 4+1, or you're thinking about what to do when the master's or doctoral program is completed. Those are things I'm happy to help you with. Even sort of I say simple, but it's not simple. It's like resume or cover letter writing, CV writing, building interview skills, or doing a mock demo or mock interview, or even a mock virtual demo or mock virtual interviews. Those are things that we're going to focus a lot of efforts on this fall. And I'm also happy to work with you on building out your network, whether that's through LinkedIn, whether that's through maintaining positive connections from your field placement sites, whether you're there in person or you're there virtually. Everything is about the connections that you're making and making the best of all those connections and continuing to make them and build those. And also tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the Alumni Network, which is a resource, if you're not familiar with, I'd like to familiarize you with. I am still holding appointments via Handshake, and this is a platform that I'll explain in just a moment. Normally, I'm just a few doors down from the rest of the academic advising team in the Shimada Resource Center, but we will continue to be remote for the foreseeable future, but I'm happy to do a phone call or Zoom with you anytime if you'd like to talk about any of these things. And again, the Career Center staff is also highly trained across multiple disciplines to support you with this, but some names in particular that I work closely with that are kind of College of Education liaisons are Kathy Francis, and Callie Kondo, and Mark Coloco. And I can type those names into the chat, but all of their staff are highly trained across disciplines. Those are just the people that tend to work very closely with our college. So just by green check mark, if everyone could just put a check next to their name, if Handshake is something that you're even remotely familiar with. Go ahead and put a green check next to your name, just to kind of temperature check here. I see Sarah and Rachel. Bridget, John. Okay, great. Not as many as I would like to see, but that's one of the reasons why we included it here tonight, to raise its visibility. So if you're not already familiar with Handshake, this is a great space for you to become familiar as far as searching for jobs, searching for paid internships, searching for experiential learning. It's also the space where you would make an appointment with either me for career support or Emily, if you're one of the programs that she's mentioned earlier, to talk about internships that are aligned with your course components. In addition to being able to search through jobs on there, it's also where we'll be holding our PD events and career fairs virtually throughout the fall. So any large scale events are going to be happening through Handshake, so it's great. It's this one-stop shop and platform that I strongly suggest you become familiar with. And then either myself or the Career Center actually has Handshake sort of familiarity appointments that you can make to kind of walk you through how to best utilize the service. So again, it's our university-wide job searching database. If you're someone who might graduate in 1 or 2 semesters, you still have Handshake as an alumni. And you also do still have access to make career appointments, again, with myself or the Career Center, unlimited for the first year, and then twice a year for the first 5 years that you're graduated. So even as an alumni, you are entitled to the support. So I recommend that you familiarize yourselves with it. Whenever schools or organizations reach out to say, hey, we have a job, this is where I redirect them. And then Callie Kondo in the Career Center follows up to make sure that they've set up their Handshake profile so that it's very accessible for students and for alumni to do some job searching on there. Okay, these are the quick steps to making an appointment with me. You would go on to Handshake, you set up a very brief profile. You can make it as detailed as you'd like, much like a LinkedIn profile, or you can keep it brief because a lot of your program information sort of automatically gets generated in Handshake. So you can we suggest you be as detailed as possible, but it's pretty intuitive if you'd like to just get yourself on there. You'd make an appointment with me through Handshake appointments, new appointment, College of Education and Human Development, career development support, and then pull from those available days and times. Right now I only have times listed Mondays and Fridays, but as the semester gets started, I'm going to open up those time slots. And if you have another time later in the evening, earlier in the morning, I have a toddler, I get it. I'm happy to work weird hours if that's what's best for you. So just email me and we can find a time. And again, we'd be meeting through Zoom. My link is in there, but it's also prompted on Handshake as well. Another great resource that our office has been working on that I'd like to share with you is the CEHD Career Development Resource page. So this is specific to our college. I pulled a lot of resources that are already existing on the Career Center's website. So different sort of handbooks and guides that they have and that they've sourced. I've just added some additional resources that are specific for education. So some specific job searching spaces for teachers or for teaching related fields or school related fields or nonprofit, higher education, things like that. So it's more specific to our field in a sense. And there are some things on there around demo lessons and virtual demos, as well as some information about some College of Education and Human Development orgs like Jumpstart that Kristen and Emily have both worked for a long time, as well as many other organizations that are looking for paid opportunities, volunteer opportunities, mentorships, you name it. We have a lot of organizations that Emily will actually be talking about in just a few minutes that you can get involved with, and they're all featured on this site. That said, familiarize yourself with the Career Center's website. They have a ton of information, even really simple things like professional email communication or career assessment tools. There's a lot on there that's really good. And I know we spend a lot of time in front of the computer these days, but take advantage of the resources that have been made available to you. The Career Center works very hard to try to find the things that you need. So it's great to check them out. And that's actually just a picture of Mark Coloco, who will be our guest in just a couple minutes, doing an in-person session. Okay, I'm going to do another sort of temperature check. And if anyone has used the OWL network before, could you please give me another green check mark if you've used the OWL network before? Okay, Driana's used it before. Rachel, John. Great, we've got a couple people who've used it. Okay, so I think everyone here is probably familiar with LinkedIn, which also we, sorry, is this in the chat? LinkedIn is also a space where the Career Center and myself could support you with, but OWL Network is our internal system. So for alumni or students, current staff, current faculty, this is a way for us to kind of connect with each other. And staying connected right now, in light of so many of us being virtual for so much of our jobs or so much of our schooling, is very important to stay connected. So if you're thinking about a career path in ABA, or you're thinking about going back for your master's degree in counseling psychology or in higher education, any one of our programs, this would be a great way for you to get connected with a staff or faculty member that holds a role that you're interested in. Maybe you want to be an academic advisor and you're not sure what credentials you might need to get there. You could go on the OWL network, again, set up a profile. Like, it can link to your LinkedIn if you already have one of those set up, and just reach out and say, hey, would you mind, logging onto Zoom for 15 minutes? I'd love to learn more about how you've attained this position, or if you have any insight around it, or what programming you've done to get there. How do you like it? What's your day-to-day like? Tons of things like that. So the OWL network is also great because some job opportunities also get posted on there internally. And they do a great job of doing some discussion and resource sharing here as well. So it's another resource that I'd like for you to check out after this call. And here's just an example of how I linked my LinkedIn. I was able to pull up my employment history. I was able to set up my profile that way. It's pretty intuitive. So if you're looking to get connected, but maybe LinkedIn is, maybe more intimidating and you'd rather reach out to someone who's a student or an alumni, you feel like that might lead a closer connection, that's a great way to do that as well. And also keep in mind that the LinkedIn alumni page for Temple University has over 20,000 people. So it's another great way to network is to use LinkedIn or the OWL network or both. So I know we have a fair amount of undergraduate students on the line from some mixed majors. So these are some things that I'm working on in conjunction with the Career Center for some support. So if you are a freshman or a transfer student, and this is your first semester, you'll be seeing me for a series of career development workshops. If you're a student teacher this semester, if you are a middle grades and secondary education student, you will definitely be seeing me because your instructors will make it mandatory for you to attend one of these workshops. If you're an early childhood person, you won't necessarily be required to come, but I'm gonna do some workshop pre-recording so you can look through those asynchronously at some point in your convenience throughout the semester. I also wanna remind everyone of the Student Teacher Professional Development Day for those who that applies to. That will be Wednesday, November 11th for the day. We're working on coming up with some really relevant content for the Professional Development Day, and we'll also walk you through the steps of virtual career fair etiquette, and also some of the employers and schools that we'll be inviting for the career fair that will happen on November 17th. So if you're a student teacher this semester, this will be incredibly relevant for you, but we also have employers that are coming that will also be relevant for HTCE and AOD majors. There's a lot of community-based organizations that will be invited as well. So everyone should definitely hold the date for the career fair, and I'll send out some correspondence later in the semester about that. And I'm also working with HTCE and AOD faculty to do specific workshops for your teams as well. Okay, next we have graduate events. 3 of these are ones that Mark Coloco, again, who's speaking in just a couple minutes, is leading for all graduate students, not just our college, but all graduate students. The first is on resume and cover letter writing on September 16th. So if you need support there, strongly suggest you do that workshop first and then maybe make an appointment with one of us after, once you've kind of garnered some of that information and insight. Mark and I are working on a professional communication and professional pitch that's specific for College of Education graduate students. And we'll send out more correspondence around that. We'll talk about interviewing, we'll talk about online presence, things of that nature, doing that sort of professional pitch. And Mark will do a little bit of this in his session as well. And then he's leading 2 more sessions for job searching and LinkedIn. Again, those are open for all graduate students and they're accessible as events on Handshake. So it's another reason for you to familiarize yourselves with Handshake. Mark and I are also working with the graduate program coordinator. So if there's anyone on the line who's a counseling psychology student or higher education student or AOD student, we're working really closely with those department faculty to put up some very tailored programming for your career possibilities and career exploration around that particular industry. So definitely keep an eye out for those dates if you're any one of those 3 programs. And
Erica,
yeah.
I'm sorry, we have a quick question and I just want to make sure that I'm asking it if it's appropriate. I think the student is asking where the recordings for the career resume videos will be uploaded, but I just want to make sure that's what they are referring to. So where would those recordings be uploaded?
So any of the events that happen on Handshake, the recording will be posted shortly within a few days after that. For our sessions, if we do something that's specific with the department chair, then the faculty will often just sort of share that out on its listserv. If it's for this Zoom meeting, Courtney Douglas and the marketing team will work this through, sort of trim it down, and then it'll be made available in the next couple of days. And I believe Courtney emails it out.
Okay, great.
To the listserv of students who registered.
Yeah, they meant the Zoom meeting. I wasn't sure. Okay, I wasn't sure if they meant, the events that you were referring to, or this meeting in particular. So, thank you.
Thanks, Em. Okay. So, lastly, and then I'll turn it over to Mark. We have several events that we'd like to advertise that are happening through the Career Center. There's Get Experience Week that's happening August 31st through September 4th. There's 2 Careers in Color events that are happening on September 23rd and October 7th. So we strongly encourage any students who identify as students of color or alumni of color to come to not only the alumni mixer, but then also the coffee chat. The coffee chat will have prospective employers there that are looking to hire diverse staff for their different teams. So if you identify as a student of color, we strongly suggest attending those. The Career Center is also doing some resume, LinkedIn, general workshops as well as the Queer Connect, the panel and networking event that's happening on October 8th. And Callie Kondo asked that I highlight these sort of last 4 events on the bottom for social work and human services, the All Majors Fair, and the Healthcare and Public Policy Fair, because there is actually a lot of employment opportunities that are quite aligned with some of the counseling majors or ABA or HTCE, AOD. So keep an eye out for those, even though you might not necessarily be a social work student or a public policy student. You might find positions that would be very appealing for you. So keep an eye out for these, and this correspondence will come out from the Career Center. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Mark Coloco, who is a fantastic resource and human and everything. So with that, Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Erica. And I'm glad to be here with everyone in the College of Education and Human Development. As Erica said, my name is Mark Coloco, and it was really interesting just hearing some of the different stories that were shared earlier about experience with Temple University. I also have a very unique story with Temple. I'm here tonight and this afternoon as both an employee of the university, but also as a student. So I've been working with Temple University for the last 8 years as a professional, but prior to that, I was a student, and currently I am a student, and I wanted to share with you all just a little bit about that this afternoon and this evening. But you know, I think that one of the things that is really connected to this program that we're having is about your story. And you've heard a number of us start to share our stories, and I'm going to share mine. But we really want you to be empowered by your own story. Each of us has a story that is going to help us out as we go about our professional lives. And it can actually take a lot of time thinking about the most important aspects of your professional story. And I want to share with you mine and then really try to highlight just some different areas that actually come up in any professional story that you'll share about yourself. So a little bit about me. It kind of goes back to high school. In high school, I became really interested in understanding just kind of how people kind of function, how we have interactions with one another. I really wanted to understand and learn more about human interaction. And in my senior year of high school, what I ended up studying was psychology, my first psychology class ever. And I remember being really excited. I'd never had a class like that ever before. And I'd seen, you know, movies about psychologists, people sitting in armchairs and having all these wonderful, insightful thoughts. And I was like, oh, I want to be like one of those people. And I thought that taking this class was going to kind of open me up to those possibilities. So I took the psychology class in my senior year of high school, and I really enjoyed it. I really knew that I wanted to pursue psychology when I went to college. And another piece about me is that I'm actually on my way to becoming a 3-time Temple alum. Actually, my first college degree was actually at Temple University in the College of Liberal Arts, where I studied psychology. And I really enjoyed studying psychology there and learning about just human development, learning about cognitive psychology, all those different aspects of psychology. And I really enjoyed learning. And I also really liked talking to other classmates just about whatever they studied. I always felt like I could remember not always somebody's name, but I could always remember what they studied. For some reason, when I would run into them again, when I would see someone, I wouldn't remember their name, but I would remember what they were studying. And I really started to say, well, if I really like helping people, I really like understanding people more, and I really like learning as well, maybe there's something within education that I could do as a career. And I really had a lot of good conversations with my academic advisors during my first 4 years at Temple University. And I started asking my advisors some questions. I started saying to them, you know, how would I get into doing a job like you? How would I become an academic advisor? And one of the things that they told me was, you know, you might have different types of experience, but you really need to get a master's degree and probably get a master's degree in something like higher education. And for myself, that didn't completely align with what I wanted to do as a professional. I really wanted to understand more about working with people. That was my passion area. I wanted to learn more about how to work with people as well. So I decided not to go for a Master of Higher Education like a lot of people do who usually want to get into academic advising or some role within higher ed. And I actually decided to choose a degree within the College of Education at the time, which was a counseling psychology degree. So in 2010, I actually started a counseling psychology degree within the College of Ed and Human Development. And that was a really wonderful experience for me. I think if anyone is on the call that's part of the counseling psych program, you know about the meaningful conversations that you have, the learning that happens within the labs. The different courses really helped me to develop better interpersonal skills, being better at being able to interact with others, as well as being able to become a counselor, really helping people to ask questions really deeply about themselves and find meaning. So that really became a wonderful experience for me. But I still knew that there was something in higher education that I wanted to do. And I really got lucky kind of again, that in my second year of that counseling psych program, I actually I was on my way to one of the student centers, and I actually saw a career fair. And I remember going to that career fair, and I remember talking to some of the directors that were there. And I said, hey, you know, I'm completing my master's degree. I really think that I might want to get into something within higher education, maybe even career counseling. Could I do an internship with your office? So the career center, the University-wide career center that I now work for, they actually offered me a volunteer internship in my second year of my master's program. And so I was doing an internship at a mental health agency while at the same time doing an internship at the career center. And I got to learn all about resume writing. I got to learn about the career development process. And I really liked that particular type of work. And something that was really fortunate for me is I was getting ready to finish my master's degree. I thought I was going to go into mental health. There were no opportunities at that point But just as I finished my master's degree, 2 people from the university-wide career center here, they actually left their roles and went to different institutions. And because I've been there as a volunteer intern for so long, people were really thinking this might be a good position for me. So I interviewed for it, and I ended up becoming a career coach in the now Career Center. So I was now starting to work as a career coach, and I really, again, started to find a really good overlap of all my interests, helping people, learning, finding different ways to help people figure out what they want to do with their careers. And it really began to be a really great place for me to kind of grow. So I was using my counseling skills, and it was, I was working with students that were in liberal arts, the liberal arts students, as well as some of the performing arts students. And that was also really a great time. But as I continued on working in the Career Center, an opportunity came available to start working with graduate students. So I went for that role and was able to start the profession that I'm in now, which is working specifically with graduate students on their professional development, as well as undergraduate students who want to go to graduate school. And all this time that I was working in the Career Center, being able to counsel students, being able to do some teaching, being able to run different types of events, I started to notice something about all the students that I was working with. I noticed that the experience of all the students was individual, it was unique, and that certain students had many different difficulties that they had to overcome. There were students that had financial difficulties that made it really difficult for them to go to certain classes or to come to the Career Center, or it would impact how much they maybe knew about the different career services that we offered. And I really started to say, I think I want to understand more about the students who have different difficulties that they might come across, whether it was financial difficulties, or whether they were the first in their family to go to college, or whether they came from a certain background that is not really represented so much at the university. And so I became very interested in studying that. And that's actually the degree path that I'm in right now. I'm actually completing my Doctor of Education in Higher Education. And in that particular program, I'm focusing on student development. So I'm focusing on the experience of students and the different challenges that they have. And I've now completed all my doctoral coursework. I'm in the dissertation phase. If you want to talk about that sometime, we can talk about it. It can be a very trying process. But as I'm now in that final stage, my dissertation is actually on first-generation college students who are first in their families to actually go to college. And so I'm looking at how their experiences play out as they actually start interacting with the Career Center. What are some challenges that they experience interacting with the Career Center? What are some advantages that they have in interacting with the Career Center? And I'm really enjoying the outcome of that particular study and what it might mean for my field. So, it's really been a wonderful career path for me. And within higher education, just realizing that I really enjoyed working with people, then developing counseling skills within my master's program, and now I'm developing a lot of research skills within my doctor program. And I'm hoping that once I finish this, I can really be a part of professional development at a more strategic level, and really helping the decisions that are made, and really making sure that professional development is included in the education curriculum, because it's so important. Everyone, when they finish a degree, they're going off to another job, or they're going to start another program, and we really just want to make sure that students are the most prepared for that, whatever that next step is going to be. So I look forward to doing more of that once I finish my degree path. And thank you all for listening to me and hearing me kind of share about my particular professional story. But there's something that I want you to kind of take away from that. There are certain elements that are in everybody's professional story that you just can't miss those elements. And if you really listen to everything that I was sharing there were certain parts that I talked about. I talked about my interests. My interests were working with people, that I really wanted to understand people more, that I was interested in counseling. But I also talked about my knowledge, my education. So I told you that I got a bachelor's degree in psychology. I told you that I got a master's degree in counseling psychology, and now I'm doing this doctoral program in higher education. And lastly, I talked about skills. I talked about the research skills that I'm developing now. I talked about the interpersonal and counseling skills that I have developed through my work as a career coach. And I think that when it comes to your professional story, you want to make sure that you are including these 3 elements. These are the things that most employers need to know if they want to try to hire you. This is the information that even if you just want to make sense to someone else that you're communicating to, that they're going to remember these themes of your interests, of your knowledge, of your skills. So we want to give you an opportunity to practice communicating your professional story using some of these elements. So if we can actually advance, what I like to do is, so what we're going to do now, we're going to give you an opportunity to pair off into groups. You're going to get into groups of 3 or 4, and you're going to take the next 10 minutes to introduce yourself to some people that are on the call. Some of these individuals on the call you might have never met before, and this is an opportunity for you to do some networking, for you to do some relationship building, and we want you to answer these 3 questions. You first need to obviously say your name, first and last name, introduce yourself, but here are 3 questions that we want you to answer. We want you to answer, what is one of your career interests? And that could be a future job title that you want to pursue, or just a certain specialization that you want to pursue. You also want to share, what is your current degree that you're pursuing? What is your current degree path? Are you in a master's program, bachelor's program, doctoral program? And then think about this year. Really want to challenge you to think about this year. What is one skill that you want to develop this year, that you want to keep working on this year? And you'll share your responses to these 3 different questions in your groups of 3 or 4, and it will help you to get to know each other. And if we have some time when we come back, I'd like to hear what are some common ground, some common links that we kind of saw from answering these questions. But maybe even if we could throw any of these questions in the chat, that could also be helpful. But we're going to now break off into groups, and we're going to go through these 3 questions of practicing your professional story.
Great. So I have everyone in pretty evenly in groups of 4. There will probably be a staff or faculty member that are in there, and they can also share their own career path and career goals and sort of help you think through yours as well. So I'm going to go ahead and send everybody except for Mark and Courtney into breakouts right now. And we will see you in 10 minutes, and we'll give you about a 2-minute warning when it's time to come back.
Okay, so it looks like we have everyone back, and hope that you found that to be a wonderful activity and just an opportunity to be able to meet some others. And wanted to kind of take just a minute to have maybe 1 or 2 people share. Was there any interesting common ground that you found with somebody else as you were going through the questions and sharing your professional story? Did anyone make an interesting connection during the breakout rooms?
Hi, Mark. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Kaufman. I'm a development officer here with the College of Education and Human Development. I don't know if we really made a connection so far as a career path goes, but one of the students in HDCE, Aubrey Winger, we both realized that she is from the Quad Cities in Illinois, and I am from just south of the Quad Cities in Iowa. And she is interested in pursuing a career in the nonprofit sector, which I've been doing for the last 13 years. So we were really excited to make that connection, and we're going to connect offline here in the coming weeks to talk about career opportunities in the nonprofit world, and of course share stories about the rural Midwest.
I'm really excited about it. It was really cool.
Me too.
Thank you so much, Derek, for sharing that story. And I think just even as I was hearing you kind of talk about that, I think that that's something about networking, is that it doesn't always have to be about your job. It doesn't always have to be something that seems completely professional. Just being from the same area as someone can be the start of a connection that can eventually lead to a professional relationship that can lead to a career. So I think hopefully that's something that everyone can take away from just doing this activity, is that just getting to know people, just kind of asking maybe where somebody's from, that can be a source of connection that can really help you to do an informational interview. That's what it sounds like is going to happen next about that particular career path, and that can help out with finding job opportunities. So great takeaway, excellent. And just wanted to share with you all, if you have any questions about how to communicate your professional story, you can also reach out to the Temple Career Center. There'll be information about us that will be shared. You can see our website there if you want to go there to learn more. But we also offer 30-minute appointments that are by Zoom or by phone, and we can help you out with talking about your resume, cover letter, your CV, job search strategies, Also, we have a number of career assessments that we can also have you kind of go through if you want to explore your career interests. We can do have conversations about practice interviews, and we can also talk about LinkedIn as well. And I think on just the next slide, I have just another 1 or 2 ways that you can kind of connect with us. So I also like to give people my email. If you like to reach out, you can feel free to reach out in terms of setting up an appointment time. So I have that there. Erica talked a lot about Handshake. Handshake is like one of the main ways that you should try to set up an appointment, or if you want to look at different events that are going to be happening, Handshake is the best place for that. And then you can always call the Career Center office. Our number is there, and again, our website. And you can follow us also on social media. But that kind of concludes my segment of the presentation, but really great being able to connect with you all. And I'm actually just very excited of hearing that story of just that connection that was made. And I think that that's be open. I think taking the initiative is really a good thing that helps you out with being able to figure out what it is that you want to do in the future, learning from people who have had that experience before. So don't be afraid to reach out, take that initiative and make connections. And I think you'll hear more about that in the next segment of the session today.
Thank you so much, Mark, for coming to join us. Okay, so we're going to transition now rather sort of organically to getting involved. So we are all siloed in our homes and we are all in front of our computers most of the day. So it is very hard to have the will and determination to attend, additional online fairs or to make those additional connections through Zoom. But we promise you it's worth it. Making these connections, should be, to the best that you can sort of maintain your mental health as well. And we have, of course, the Wellness Resource Center here on campus if you're having a hard time navigating some of those things. But our next segment, we're going to transition now into getting involved as best as you can, as often as you can in the virtual environment. So I'm going to turn it over now to Emily Garcia, who's going to talk about some really fantastic organizations through the College of Education and Human Development.
Thanks, Erica. So I think you sort of said it perfectly, that this is sort of a very, sorry, my AirPods are dying. I'm a little bit just trying to get my tech working. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right that this is a pretty organic transition into, getting involved. I know in our small group, I was telling my group that it was actually through Jumpstart that I sort of landed on my career path and what I wanted to do when I graduated. I was involved with Jumpstart as an organization, as a student, and they, as an organization, just really showed me a lot about myself and different opportunities within education that I wasn't really aware of at the time. And so our goal, at this point in time is to talk a little bit about some affiliated organizations. I'm not going to give you a in-depth sort of synopsis of every single one of them, but we just wanted to show you, the various affiliated organizations that we have in the College of Education and Human Development that students across the board can get involved in, whether you are an undergraduate student or a doctoral student. We have a lot of opportunities here. So, programs like Jumpstart that focus on early childhood education, or programs like Temple Teacher Residency that work with master's students who are looking to get involved in math and science and do 3 years of teaching in the Philadelphia School District, the Intergenerational Center, which sort of houses a lot of programs like Gear Up and Grandma's Kids. We just strongly encourage you to explore these affiliated organizations and perhaps find one that maybe really resonates with you or speaks to you in some capacity. We know that getting involved and staying engaged is a great way to not only build you up professionally, but to also network and meet new friends and sort of build a smaller community within the larger Temple community. So if you were on convocation on Tuesday, a lot of these organizations actually presented. And so Convocation will be posted on the YouTube. Oh, and I think Erica just put it in. Oh, great. Erica just put it in the chat. So the YouTube link from Convocation is in the chat. And each of these organizations that you see here presented at that time. Erica also mentioned our Canvas page, our career development Canvas page. And there's also additional resources on that Canvas page that sort of speak to a lot of these various organizations. So please feel free to explore on your own or to watch that video I was just referring to. And again, just another plug for that Canvas page that Erica was talking about. If you are not on that Canvas page for any reason, please feel free to message Erica or myself in the chat, and we can make sure that we add your email address to the Canvas page to get you on there. I think we are now going to transition into some other student organizations that are going to talk a little bit to what their organizations specifically do and how students can get involved as well. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, Em. We have representatives from 4 different undergraduate student organizations on the line today. But before they speak, we're going to do another quick breakout to explore the Alconnect. So Alconnect is a way where you can search not just College of Education and Human Development student organizations, but any student organization for any of your hobbies or interests or passions apart from your work in the college that you could explore. Student organizations and college-based organizations are leading a lot of events. Most of them are online, but I did find out from the student organizations team that there are some events that are happening for an under 25 person capacity, so long as the space allows for students to stay at least 6 feet apart. So there will be some in-person activities happening on campus, but most of them, especially the larger events, will be virtual. So we're gonna hop back into breakout groups. Some people have left, some people have joined. So some of the people might still be the same, but we're going to go ahead and use Alconnect in our breakout groups to answer these 2 questions. Are there any student organizations or any organizations period that you might like to join as an individual or as a group? And then also do some searching on events. So are there any events that are happening, again, in person or remotely, that you as an individual or you as a small group might like to attend? The events are not just for students. There's also some things that happen for alumni too. So we have some alumni on the line that can do some searching as well. So maybe not for the full 10 minutes, it's 5:11 now. We'll probably bring everybody back at 5:20 and then we'll invite our student organizations to speak. So we'll go ahead and head into our breakout groups. Okay, great. So if you found any interesting organizations or events and you want to type those in the chat, that would be great. And then next, we have some student representatives from various undergraduate organizations on the line tonight. So we're going to go ahead and start with Isabella. These are the 4 organizations that are listed here. Future Educators of Temple University, Human Development and Community Engagement Association, Kappa Delta Pi or KDP, and then the Pennsylvania State Education Association as well. Okay, so Isabella, you can take it from here.
Hi, I'm Isabella. I'm the founder and president of FETU, Future Educators of Temple University. We welcome all majors, and our main goal is that really we just support students who are interested in the field of education by providing workshops and speakers that are able to address the trends and current events that impact the education industry. So Temple University students and faculty are hopefully able to use FETU as a vehicle for support, collaboration, and mentoring. We invite all students in any education-focused associations to get involved with us in helping aid professional development. So the main goal is to really just help shape students into knowledgeable, fair, patient, and committed future educators.
Great, and if any students on the line are interested, the email address is right on the advertisement. Thanks for coming, Isabella.
Thank you.
Okay, next I'd like Aubrey, Derek's new very good friend, to speak to the organization that she's representing tonight as its new president, CEHD.
Oops, sorry.
bear with me, guys. I had classes all day. So, yeah, I'm just, here. But this is HDCE, or A. I'm the new president of it. It's basically, it gets the College of Education together. We talk about how we can get the community engaged, how we can help support each other through the classes that we have, because a lot of the classes that we're taking, it's very small. It's a very small major. So we have, we come together, we have group meetings, we do fun things, we talk about how we can, lead and change and make a difference. And we talk about, like, I don't know, we just support each other through, like, the professors and like with the professors in our major, just overall, like, networking, stuff like that. So I'm still new to the whole thing, so I'm still learning, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun this year. Hopefully, we can have events and stuff, but yeah, I'm excited. So if you guys want to join, or if you know anybody that wants to, like, help me, like, be a vice president or a treasurer for the organization, that would be very helpful, because I'm kind of by myself right now. But yeah, so, and the first general body meeting will be on September 17th at 7 o'clock, and elections for the e-board will be on September 24th at 7 o'clock. So if you'd like to join, that would be really great. Yeah.
And special shout out to Aubrey. Aubrey, I had class with Aubrey several semesters ago, and the class that I was teaching had a cultural exchange program where all of our students were working very closely with international student through this semester-long cultural exploration piece. And Aubrey's group's final video is still one of my favorites that I've ever seen. It was fantastic and interesting and inspiring for ways that students can get connected. And HDCE students do a great job of sort of exuding all the things that are part of their programs. So thanks for joining us, Aubrey. And if anyone's interested, her email is right on the slide.
Thank you. Thank you, Erica. Thank you.
Okay, now Gracie from KDP.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Grace Gillespie, and I'm the president of Kappa Delta Pi. I'm a junior studying early childhood education with a concentration in special ed. Kappa Delta Pi is an international honor society in education, and it was founded in 1911. And over the years, it has grown to 1.2 million members worldwide. And the vision of Kappa Delta Pi is to help committed educators be leaders in improving education for global citizenship. And the mission of KDP is to sustain an honored community of diverse educators by promoting excellence and advancing scholarship, leadership, and service. So Temple's chapter is called Alpha Alpha Nu, and it was founded in 2001. It became a Temple student org in 2016, and membership is open to undergrads and graduate students. So the undergraduate students are eligible starting their sophomore year or older, and graduate students are eligible after 9 or more semester hours. And the eligibility is based on your academic achievement. So undergrads have to have a GPA of at least 3.5, and graduate students have to have a GPA of at least 3.7. And typically we meet in person, but due to COVID, we won't be able to. So we're going to hold our monthly meetings on Zoom, at least for the fall, hopefully not for the spring, but who knows? So through KDP, we participate in a lot of service, fundraisers, and other events. Some service ideas that we have for the fall would be solely virtual. So we would like to do a school supplies or PPE drive via an Instagram story bingo. So basically your Instagram followers donate to the organization, and then we take those funds and we buy school supplies or PPE for a school in need. We would like it to be a local school. So if anyone knows any schools that would be willing to have school supplies and PPE dropped off, please let me know. We would also like to do virtual teacher appreciation cards. And if we ever get to be in person again, we would love to do a book drive and a cherry pantry drive. So we also have fundraisers for KDP, but I'm not sure if we'll be able to do them for the fall. We typically hold Maxie's, Blaze Pizza, Chipotle, and Honeygrow fundraisers, as well as a bake sale. And in the fall, we would love to have some guest speakers come and talk during the meetings. And we will also go over resume tips. One really interesting thing we would love to talk about in the fall and are planning on talking about is the new normal of teaching. So we would talk about ways teachers can interact with their students online, such as having like a Bitmoji classroom or Google Polls. So we're trying to expose all of our members to virtual teaching options.
Thank you, Gracie. We actually have 2 questions for you in the chat.
Okay.
First is how to apply for KDP.
Okay, so you don't apply, you actually get selected based on your academic achievement. So if you have a GPA of at least 3.5 and are a sophomore, you will receive an email from me extending the invite to join. And then if you accept it, you will be initiated. And then the next question. Oh, cool, contact information. Yes, I think that's on the next slide. I can type it in the chat too. Okay. So if you are eligible, like I said, you will receive an email from us mid-fall, so you don't have to do anything except for work hard in school. And if you have any questions or want to learn more or want to participate in any way, we would love any kind of help or advice or service ideas that you guys have. You can email me at edkdp@temple.edu, and you can follow us on Instagram at KDP-Temple, and you can DM us any questions or advice you guys have. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, do I have another? Oh, good.
Great. Thank you so much, Gracie, for coming. I'm glad to see
Thank
we're
you.
connections. Okay, so our last student organization does actually not have a student here to speak on behalf of it. So the PSEA is a Temple chapter, but it's part of the Pennsylvania State sort of larger association, the larger education association. And all of the members last spring graduated. So there are some vacancies, but it's already a chapter that's been created, and the student organization sort of options are already there. So if there's any students on the line who are looking to really take something and make it their own and mold it with sort of their vision, they're definitely still taking applicants. So reach out to me or to the PSEA contact information, which I actually don't believe is on the slide. So I'll just put my email in the chat, and if you're interested, I can redirect you to Rainey, who is was the president. She graduated last spring, but now that she's a graduate student, she can no longer maintain that role. So thanks to all of our spokespeople who came today to talk about the undergraduate groups. There are a lot of other graduate organizations as well, but there were just too many to put on the call. So we stuck with the undergraduate groups, but the AL Network, the Alconnect is a great way to look up graduate student organizations. I know we had Sarah Rawls on the line, who is the president of the graduate students of language teaching. So there's a lot of really program specific graduate opportunities for students as well. So thank you to everyone for coming. Now I'm actually going to turn it over to 2 of our other guests, Ed and Derek, to introduce themselves, and then they'll be the ones who will be introducing our alumni panel today.
Thanks, Erica. And Derek, if you want to go first, since everybody's already met you from Iowa and otherwise, and then I'll follow it up from there.
Sorry, I was muted. My name is Derek Kaufman, the Major Gift Officer for the College of Education and Human Development. Just started here last October, but very excited to, in my role is, really focus on securing major gifts from our alumni and friends, corporations and foundations to support you, our students, and of course the college's programs. So very excited to be a part of the College of Education and Human Development and raise lots of money for all of you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Derek. And with that, in that same vein, I'm Ed Stoner. I'm the Assistant Dean for Development and Alumni Relations, which means I lead the team in efforts in building support for the College of Education and Human Development, as we like to say, in the pursuit of time, talent, and treasure for all of our alumni, our donors, and other supporters, individuals who give their time to our committees, individuals who are providing their experience within the field as mentors or on our boards. And then treasure obviously is our fiscal support. So Derek and I are out there gathering funds to help promote the programs and support those programs within the college, as well as scholarships. And that's another piece that as students, if you are interested, you can check in with Aaron Carroll and Joe Paris. So they have a list of all the various scholarships within the College of Education that are available and what the requirements are for those. Also, we help build and maintain the college's relations with its nearly 48,000 living alumni, which we look forward to you eventually joining as a portion of that. And like you, I'm new to Temple. Having been in the role for just 5 months, I was excited to return to a college campus, and the energy, the exploration, and the growth mindset that comes with campuses. And obviously it hasn't been that way in terms of the pandemic and made it a little bit more interesting, but I can certainly tell you that the people make the place, and the people at Temple have been great and have really reached out to welcome me, to support and encourage and provide that connection, even though it's been virtual in most of the cases here. So I know you're going to get that same experience, and on campus, it'll be even more energizing and worthwhile. So take advantage of those opportunities. One of the things I did notice, I haven't even been to my office yet within that realm. So I'm going to give a homework assignment here for all the students out there. I said, if you get to Ritter Hall, room 238, take a picture and then send it to ed.stoner@temple.edu or to alumni.ed@temple.edu. And I'll get back to you with some other things if you do that. So in the meantime, enjoy your journey at Temple, and we're here to work with you and help you and support you, and look forward to you becoming part of the nearly 300,000 Temple Owls that have persevered and conquered for their degrees, just like you are. Now it's my privilege to introduce 2 of our alumni board members, and I'll put the first one out there for you in terms of our board president for the alumni board, a triple owl, Dr. Jermaine Edwards.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the students. I am very happy to be here this evening. As you heard, my name is Jermaine Edwards, and I am a Temple three-peat. I know Mark is on his way. Come join us. It's not quite like getting the Oscar, the Grammy, and the Tony, but you know, it's Temple's version. I would like to also just offer a few words and then get off. The main thing I would like to share with all of you is my experience as a Temple owl. I have always found that there are so many resources at Temple, as you have heard this evening. I encourage you to take advantage of as many resources as possible while you're here. I am always surprised when I come back to campus, which is often, that there are so many changes and so many new opportunities and new resources to take advantage of. So I encourage you to stay connected virtually as we are now. And as you saw, all the different websites that have so many great resources, please try to keep up to date with those and share them with other owls in your network as well. My undergrad was communications. I found out that there was a field that combined communications and education, and it's almost like a Reese cup, chocolate and peanut butter. So I got into the master's program, and from there stayed on to do my doctoral program. And I am very pleased that I was able to get that education at Temple. It was very practical, but it also taught me to think big picture. So every position I've held since I left Temple has given me an opportunity to go into another career that has used all of the skills that I've ever learned. So you never lose anything that you were learning at Temple. They want you to use it all. So again, I encourage everyone to stay connected, take advantage of all the resources, especially your teachers. Your instructors are wonderful and they really do want to help. And I also want you to join your alumni association where you can stay connected to classmates, instructors, new owls, and be connected worldwide. Since we're virtual, you can travel the world. So please check out the website for the Alumni Association. There are events going on this year, virtual events, career events, events dealing with career funds, etc. Resources to support you so that you can make it through the university as a student and take care of some of your own personal financial needs. So please, please, please take advantage of the resources and join the Alumni Association. And I welcome all of you to the College of Education, and I hope to meet you in person someday soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Edwards. And now another one of our alumni board members who is also working on being a three-peat and triple L in that format as well, Dara Ruiz Whalen.
So I guess back when, my early time with Temple, I guess I have to get used to calling it the College of Education and Human Development. We were just the COE way back when. And I'm super excited to see the expansion on this. And hopefully for the first time owls, you're seeing a trend that Temple is a place to go if you want to be an educator in this region and across the country and now globally. They've got one of the best education departments and amazing faculty. My original degree was in science education at Temple a very long time ago. I had started as elementary ed major and realized I, like Jermaine, wanted to find something that blended my loves for other topics, and I hit on the biology program, which allowed me to get certified as a biology teacher upon graduation. After some time in the field, I came back to Temple and earned my master's degree in curriculum instruction and technology. At the time, it was a new program that Temple was rolling out. And now it's become such a blended component of how you're going to learn. You're going to learn online and offline. Unfortunately, this semester, you guys are going to learn a little bit more online than we normally would have seen you plan for. But this is good because what it's doing is it's taking you in this situation and getting you ready to face those challenges after graduation. I am a current PhD student, so learning doesn't stop. Even when you have the gray hair and your owl feathers start to molt, you keep coming back and you keep learning. And I've met so many literally different generations of educators, and the one thing that has stayed true is that the professors in this department really care about your success. They want to see you build relationships with your cohorts. They want you to come to them with concerns and to discuss things, and they want to see you succeed by helping you to write and to get published and to do your work and critically think. But they also want you to work with your colleagues. And these are going to be really, really important as you move on and you start writing and working together. And you want to bounce ideas off of your peers because they're the ones that are going through it with you, not having already gone through it. I am a member of the College of Education and Human Development Alumni Board since 2016. They do amazing things, and hopefully once everything opens up, we'll see you at a lot of face-to-face events. Please do that. As undergrads and even graduate students, go online, look at that Alconnect. They didn't have that back when I was a student 100 years ago. And now I wish I wish I had joined this and this and this and this to grow your community, because teachers need community. We cannot go into those classrooms alone and do this. And as somebody who is an alum, who is a current OWL, I'm going to put my email in the chat. I also run programs. I am the co-founder of a program called eClose Institute. We're launched out of Philadelphia, and we do run programs, online, virtual, hybrid, as well as face-to-face, where we actually train students and teachers and pre-service teachers how to do science research and take it into their classrooms for projects and take it out into the real world as workforce development. And this fall, we're hoping to run a program for pre-service and in-service science teachers. So if you know a science teacher or you're going to be a science teacher and you think this is something you want to get involved in, please do, because Temple Owls go back to Temple Owls. And this has been something, and I've spoken to Dawn on several occasions about this, and Jermaine knows that my biggest passion is helping the community that helped me become the educator that I am today and continues to support me. So at the very end of my day, I want to be able to support more owls. So you guys are on the best track possible. Stay involved and stay connected. And good choice.
Thanks, Dara. Now it's an opportunity for us to present a couple of recent alums to give you similar experiences and their perspective on the College of Education and Human Development. So I'll turn it over now to Donovan Forrest.
Yeah, how's it going, Mr. Stoner? Thank you for introducing me, and thank you, Dawn, for the opportunity to speak life into those undergrads at Temple now. I'm a little tired. I just got off of work a few minutes ago, but currently, as a class of 2020 spring alum of the College of Education and Human Development, I'm super proud to call Temple the place where I found my purpose and had the chance to pursue it. In addition to being a recent grad, I'm currently an English teacher at Simon Gratz Mastery Charter School in Upper North Philadelphia. I've been doing that for about 2 weeks. So I'm a little drained because we're trying to get into the process of preparing for a virtual school year. But nevertheless, I am encouraged. In addition, while I was at Temple, I had a chance to found an organization. It's called Don Cares of Philadelphia Incorporated. We provide free tutoring and mentoring services to high school students in North Philadelphia. We match high school students in North Philadelphia with college students of color from Temple University in order to try to increase the representation and youth mentorship. In addition to that, we provide professional development opportunities for high school students that we serve, and also opportunities to go explore Philadelphia by way of restaurants and other endeavors and things like that. But it's the work that we do that really we take the most pride and joy in. And the one thing I would say about Temple is that, especially as an education and human development major, Temple is a great place to start because we're at the epicenter of a lot of the nation's biggest challenges, from gentrification to poverty to educational inequity and inequality. So if you're interested in making that change, definitely go forward. The sky is never the limit. It hasn't been since the 60s. Go beyond the sky and reach for the stars, and you'll be happy you did.
Thank you, Donovan, and congrats on getting started. And obviously the efforts are paying off. For those that didn't know, that 40% of the freshman class coming in this year are individuals of color. So certainly Temple continues to reach out in that area to be a part of the community and have a diverse educational experience for all.
Donovan,
next up. Oh.
Sorry, could you put the Don Care, if you have an email or a website or something that we could, same for Dara, perfect, Dara did hers too. Thank you, sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
No worries, got it up. All right, so next on our recent alum list is Stacy DeCandelo.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you guys. I'm so excited to be here. It's always a pleasure to talk about my experiences at Temple. So I am a recent alum, spring 2020. I graduated with a dual degree in early childhood and special education. And I recently started a position teaching kindergarten in the Marple Newtown School District in Delaware County. I have to say that one of the reasons that I chose Temple is I wanted to go to college in a city and get an opportunity to learn more about education than what I learned in my backyard. Growing up in a suburb, I kind of only got one side of education. I've only seen kind of what it's like in the suburbs. I wanted to learn more about urban education. I wanted to learn more about diversity, and I wanted to open myself up to more opportunities to learn about cities and everything that they have to offer educationally. And I also wanted to open myself up to the opportunity to learn how to support more of the cities and more of those things. So Temple seemed like the perfect option. I was able to stay close to home. I was able to go into a fantastic city where there are just so many bright minds, and get to work and mold with those students over 4 years. For any advice that I can give, getting involved is the biggest thing that I can do. Temple is a huge school, and thankfully the College of Education is relatively small. So getting involved is a great way to get to know your classmates and find your people. Going through the College of Education and Human Development, you want to make sure that you have your tribe and that you have people that you can rely on and be with, and be able to kind of talk through the things you're going through, be able to talk through your lesson plans, be able to talk through your placements. And without that sense of community that the College of Education and Human Development has, I truly am not sure what my experience would have been like. So I'm incredibly thankful to have had that opportunity. Another big advice that I can give is to always ask questions and to always feel like you can reach out to your professors, reach out to your colleagues. That's one thing about this college that I think is really exciting, is that it makes you feel comfortable enough that you can, reach out and ask questions and kind of make moves and things like that. So being able to talk to your professors, be able to ask questions, be able to engage in conversations is something that I think is really great about the College of Education and Human Development as well. So during your time at Temple, make sure to get involved, make sure to make new friends, make sure to find ways to get involved in the community. You don't just want to spend your 4 years just kind of not getting involved when you have the opportunity to help in so many special ways. So with all of that being said, best of luck to everyone, and I'm so excited to see what the class of 2024 has to offer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stacy. And you can feel the energy and all of the passion that our alumni have, whether it's ones that have been on campus recently or ones that have had a historical reference to it. But we're excited to have you on campus, and I'm going to turn it over now to Dawn, Angelique, Rob, to finish things up.
Actually, Erica.
So thank you. Thank you to everyone who came tonight, alumni, student organizations, alumni relations office, our whole team who's been spending some time to make this as thoughtful and informative as possible. And we'll be glad to say that, again, this will be recorded to share more broadly with students who couldn't be here tonight. As a reminder, there's one more event for Welcome Week that's happening tomorrow from 4 to 6. It is very casual and open. Faculty and department chairs are going to be logging on for 2 hours. So undergraduate and graduate students alike are welcome to go on to ask questions about courses, programs, expectations, wellness, even career insight. So we strongly encourage everyone to log on tomorrow. Again, that'll be more flexible and relaxed, aligned with a Friday at the end of the work week or the school week. But again, thank you so much, everyone, for coming tonight, and best of luck this semester. I will go ahead and put my email again in the chat if the members of my team could also do the same, so that if there's anyone who you connected with tonight or anyone you'd like to follow up with, we shared all the resources around Handshake and Al Network and Alconnect, but you can always reach back out to us to ask us questions directly. Okay, and so we'll stop the recording there.